Good evening and welcome to LUTV's coverage of this Premier League Cup game from Bootham Crescent. Leeds United taking on Derby County, and a strong starting 11 named for the Whites here in York as Leeds look to get their first win in the competition. Leeds sitting bottom of the group at the minute on 2 points, can still qualify should results go their way, and it is Derby at the moment that are 4 points ahead of them, and Leeds looking for a little bit of revenge after that 7-1 defeat a few months ago. That was back in November. So in terms of Leeds' team, we'll give you that now. We have a few new faces in there in terms of Elliot Capriel in goal. Some recognised first-teamers in the likes of Barry Douglas as well. So the team is Capriel, Douglas, Pascal Struijk, Bright Hosanna, Joe Stanley, Calvin Phillips, Liam McCarran, Theo Hudson, Niall Huggins, Bobby Camwer, John Kevin Augustin as well. And then in terms of the bench for the Whites, it is Harrison Mayle, Stuart McKinstry, Ollie Casey, Ian Poveda and Jordan Stevens. As for Derby, they've gone with Matt Yates, Festi Obaselli, Jordan Brown, Ethan Wassell and Archie Brown, Russian Hepburn Murphy, Cameron Cresswell, Liam Thompson, Josh Shoneybear, Alex Babos and Jamal Hector Ingram. The bench for the Rams: Ethan Sefton, Brad Foster, Ilian Cashin, Jaden Charles and Thierry Wilson. Myself, Tom Hill and Ben Parker are bringing you all the action, just like we did for the under-18s FA Youth Cup game against Manchester United. That was a really enjoyable night, and of course with some first teamers Ben trying to get some extra minute into legs, some extra practice, and of course pardon me, some of our 18s playing alongside them as well. It promises to be an interesting night.
Yes, good evening Tom, good evening everybody else, and it's a great occasion just to for the first team players to get minutes under the belt, the younger players to keep pushing, developing, and there's a healthy crowd already, as you can see from the pictures at York. You'll feel like a proper game. We all know about Derby's strengths. They did a really good job on us earlier in the season in the Premier League Cup. So for some of our players who were involved that night, it can be a time for a bit of revenge. But no, it's for the first team players on show, it's always going to be good to see how they perform.
Yeah, Derby straight away kicking it out for a Leeds throw-in in this famous Bootham Crescent ground. Of course, the game was due to be played at Tadcaster, so earlier kick-off than originally planned, as the ball's played up towards Augustin, who's wrestling to try and retrieve it. Playing down the middle of the attack, supported by Liam McCarran and Bobby Camwer, we suspect. As we keep saying, it's just so good to see Camwer get regular minutes after a few months, or even a year really, of injury problems. That ball's gone out of play for a throw-in. Looks like Theo Hudson will sit inside there with Calvin Phillips in the middle. Niall Huggins will probably switch around as Douglas goes across to Struijk. So a bit of context for the game if you've missed the Monday action as well for Leeds. That was Sheffield Wednesday, a 2-2 draw as Capriel's under a little bit of pressure. Plays it forward and it's a pass into Huggins, and Leeds working it really nicely. Stanley at right back, but can play with both feet rather effectively as Derby clear. So yeah, Leeds no winning 3 in the league, but they are unbeaten. No winning 3 in total, but they are unbeaten in the league since October. So really turned things around in the PDL North. They're third in the table. They've got 2 games in hand on the team above them, 1 game in hand on the team at top. Derby have no winning 3. They lost to Blackburn last time out, and they're third in PL2. It's a different Derby team to the one that beat Leeds. As Augustin's got away from his marker. That was a lovely ball over the top from Phillips. 2 minutes in, and a positive sign that Ben, that he just peeled away, desperately unlucky with that chest control, that if he perhaps could have cushioned it slightly to the left, he had a shooting opportunity.
Fantastic delivery of that from Calvin. Just took a quick free kick, drilled it straight into his path. And you're right, it's a good sign not only for this game tonight, but also going forward for everybody watching. You could easily quite see that at first team level.
Straight over the top. Huggins brings it under control in the 9 shirt. Phillips tries to go over the top, looking for Augustin. Good work from Bobby Camwer, forces the error. Been a positive start this for Leeds. Struijk captains the side, and he goes across and picks up possession. Gallus Colbran up on his feet and ready to give a few instructions as McCarran turns away and gives himself a bit of space. Douglas now, Huggins trying to get into the box, looking for August. Down the edge of the area was Barry Douglas. It just couldn't fall and deflected away. And now I think it's Hepburn Murphy that's bursting down this right-hand side. I was telling Ben before we get the game, he's impressed at Tranmere on loan this year as he comes forward, ball to the far post and headed wide. And Josh Shoneybear, I wouldn't say it's an easy chance because he's at full stretch, Ben, so it might look a little easier. I'm sure the fans will try and get a bit of a sarcastic cheer or two, but bit of a warning sign. I mean, Leeds were on the attack. It looked a great chance for the Whites to try and get a shot on goal. And before you know it, 10-15 seconds and the keeper's under pressure.
Really open field to the game in these early stages, and you're right. There was a great counter-attack from us as Barry Douglas tried to find Augustin just in behind yet again. Unfortunately, pass wasn't accurate enough there. But no, real open field, one end to the other. And you mentioned about Hepburn Murphy, about him playing well at Tranmere, so he's got Football League experience already under his belt this season, so he's going to be a danger and a player to watch out for tonight.
Yeah, Derby gets the free kick. Stanley jumps up, just can't get there. Hazana just about does enough as Phillips gets to it. Hazana, that's a neat ball into Stanley. That's a bit better from Leeds. Try to play it out from the back. Straight to Douglas. Calvin Phillips to Hazana. He's quite interesting during the 23s commentaries we've done together, Ben. We've described everyone in the Calvin Phillips role. Now Calvin Phillips is playing it. And of course tried to give his experience to the players alongside him. Some of the younger members of this team. Struik wanted him to stay short there, but he went into the left channel. It's the new keeper for us to get our eyes on, see what he can do for the 23s. He's in possession. That was Ilya Capril to Douglas, out to the left for McCarran. He's beaten in the air. In terms of confidence for a keeper to get a few early touches on the ball, he certainly had some, both with his feet and his hands just then. Of course, had a chance to try and deal with, so he'll be hopefully adjusted to the pace of the game as McCarran picks up possession. He's got an option to the left in Hudson. Hudson comes into the box, tries to whip it across the face of goal, and Derby get a touch to it and have actually done quite well to stop the ball going for a corner. Douglas is bundled into the back of, and the referee, I think, has pointed for a throw-in only, and he has. Augustin, neat touch, now tries to squeeze it to the far post, nobody queuing up. Cameron had come towards the penalty spot, so it's now Huggins that's gone across to retrieve possession. Beats one, now fires it back into the mixer. It is just going to be cleared away, and both teams looking very attack-minded. Now Stewart's got to get across, and he does just that. Prepare with the side for a ball, and he just tried to tell his team to calm down, and it was one of the first points you made about the tempo, but it hasn't really settled.
He hasn't. You can see Derby, they're trying to press at every opportunity. But going forward, we look really energetic, we look sharp, the movement's good.
Let's break off because here comes Stanley in behind, and it's going to be touched behind for a Leeds corner. And
there we go, just bodies committing forward. That was the left back Barry Douglas passing out to Stanley, the opposite full back, bombing down that right hand side end. You mentioned we speak a lot about in the under 23s the Calvin Phillips role, and as you said, the man himself playing that role tonight. It just gives that platform to allow the full-backs to join in, knowing you've got that security of Calvin just holding that position.
Yeah, Barry Douglas, as expected, comes across to take this set piece. It would favour a left foot of his. Not sure he's happy with the lie of the ball, but he goes to the far post anyway. Struik's the target over him. He now tries to recover, get to the loose ball. Phillips can't do the same. Huggins with a touch. There comes Stanley. No free kick given. Referee letting play go on, and in all fairness to the Derby team, they didn't protest too much. Leeds will now try and reset as Douglas makes his way back to left back. Caprillo with a searching ball out to left, which is bang on the money. Phillips Really good ball over the top to Stanley, who's brought down. It's a strong challenge. I think the Derby player got man and ball, so probably a fair one, but certainly I felt that Stanley as he hit the deck. Neat footwork from Huggins as he tries to go towards the right for Camwer. Camwer back to Stanley. Stanley will try and pick out McCarron at the far post. Douglas is there as well. The duo combine. That ball looking for Douglas a little bit too hard from Liam McCarron, and out for a throw-in.
You have to say, we always mention about any time the first team players play with the 23s, and it is quite regular. The attitude is always spot on, and again tonight, Calvin Phillips, a couple of times the passes he's produced, spot on.
Yeah, I just want to say at that point that perhaps with him in that role today, we might have a bit more directness as Augustin goes for the ball, just a little bit short with his challenge. But yeah, those direct balls over the top could be something that Leeds try and exploit for the rest of the game. We've got three pacey players in McCarron, Camwer and Augustin, of course. That doesn't include Hudson or Huggins either.
And they'll be relishing playing with a type of player like that. And it's always mentioned about as a young player coming through, playing with the first team players. I think back to my time in the reserve football as it was then, with the first team players interacting with you, you just learn so much from when they're doing the right things at the right time.
Yeah, see what Huggins can do here as he tries to dispossess Derby down the left. That was a good tackle from Stanley, who's telling Phillips to go back to Hosanna. But Phillips thinks he can squeeze it down the line, which he unfortunately can't. He was looking for Bobby Camwer on this near touchline. Nearly 10 minutes gone and still goalless at Bootham Crescent. Derby certainly not settling into the game as much as they did in the return fixture. The one that was at St Loughborough University's ground, which Leeds on that night did have a number of injury problems. Players playing out of position. Did manage to get a consolation goal in the end. But so far Leeds the team that looking a little bit sharper as Douglas has got Phillips on his inside. He's got Struick down the left. And it is the Leeds skipper that gets to it. McCarron has to wrestle as Derby break down this right-hand side, and the right back Baselli is dispossessed. As Ben mentioned as we started the piece, good crowd tonight at Bootham Crescent. Plenty of fans turning out to support the players. That ball's going to trickle out. And well watched by Calvin Phillips and Pascal Struick, just making sure nobody took a touch they didn't need to. Struick has been one of the main targets at centre-half. A lot of players happy to use him and bring him into the game. Gabriel across to Douglas. It's only a couple of minutes in, 11 minutes in, but easy to spot that he seems quite happy with both feet, the keeper. Played passes with his left and his right as McCarron gets it down the line, takes a deflection, and Derby scrapping down that right wing, getting a little bit of joy. Pascal Struick steps in. Referee certainly letting this game flow.
Yeah, there's a real good feel to it. No, but you're right about Gabriel. I'm sure that on the recruitment side of things, that's one of the first things they do look for. How good are the keeper with the feet? We've seen all the keepers involved first team 23 level, even under 18s with Cooper Scale the other night. Everyone's comfortable with the ball at the feet. It's a real good, strong pool of goalkeepers we've got at the club at the moment.
Yeah, it certainly is. As Phillips to Struick, he can go back to Gabriel, but he goes instead to Douglas, who's hugging the touchline on the far side of Bootham Crescent. Goes on the line looking for McCarron. He would not be able to keep that ball in play, but another good run in behind. Been a bit of space for the Leeds wingers so far. Augustin trying to mark up from the throw-in just in case this ball will come back to him. Huggins releases Hudson. Hudson gets it caught underneath his feet a little bit, but he's a very tricky player. Wins his side a throw-in, or so he thinks. Not happy with that there, Hudson. That deflection might fall Leeds' way. In fact, it won't stay in play, and it will be behind for a goal kick. A reminder of the Leeds United subs for tonight's proceedings: Harrison Male, Stuart McKinstry, Ollie Casey, Ian Poveda and Jordan Stevens. Surprised Stuart McKinstry's got any energy left after Wednesday night.
Yeah, I'm sure the physios, the guys doing the massages have put 4 parts. Have been overtime just to get a bit of life back into his legs. But anybody who watched that game on Wednesday evening, what a fantastic occasion it was, and just the reaction afterward as well, just the outpour of support towards Mike Jackson and his young troops, and obviously the fans that travelled over. It was fantastic to see.
Yeah, Derby with this goal kick, and Leeds so far have gone down the channels. They've been happy to go through the middle. It's been a solid start, this, from Carlos Corberan's men. Ball with Derby in the middle of the park. One thing I've noticed from Derby, they've not really brought the 2 strikers back into the game. Jamal Hector Ingram, Alex Babos. Barely had a sniff of it. It's been more the 2 wingers that have actually impressed.
Well, going back to that game when did put a lesson on us early part of the season, it was quite a strong Derby team. A lot of those players on that evening been involved in the first team. A couple of major appearances this season for Derby County as well. And we had a young team out that night, so it was just a big learning curve, big learning lesson, and you have to say the way we've responded has been absolutely fantastic.
You know, of course, we'd like to apologise for the loss of pictures at present. That's Bootham Crescent. We'll get them back as quickly as possible for you. As Leeds continue to try and break the deadlock with, if you're only just tuning in, Jean-Kevin Augustin leading the line once again. The first team is involved tonight, the likes of Barry Douglas, Kevin Phillips as well. Young midfield Liam McCarron, Theo Hudson, Nat Huggins and Bobby Canwer. So far, haven't missed too much action. The closest we've actually come is Shawnee Bear on the left-hand side, the number 11 for Derby, going close with a diving header at the far post. But before that, Leeds' attacks have looked pretty bright. But in terms of what we've learned from this Premier League Cup campaign so far, Ben, and while we've got the time to discuss it, in terms of last year was such a positive run. We had the likes of Newcastle in the group, of course. There was Notts County in there as well. This time, a tougher draw Leeds were handed. It's not as if they've been... The goal difference count doesn't look the best with 3 in 11 and only 2 points, but a couple of those games they were unlucky not to win, and the table looks a lot different. But it's a big learning curve for the players.
And you have to say it is probably just a step up from what we used to in the league campaign with the under-23s. And you mentioned 2 teams, particularly Wolves and Derby County. They're used to playing at that level just above our development league, but now for the players, they stood up to the test really, really well. It's predominantly been a very, very young team we've put out tonight. Yes, we've got a mixture of the more senior players in. We'll have to wait and see how many minutes each individual does get from the first team. I can't imagine it being too long, to be fair. We don't really like to put them through too many minutes, but no, like going back to Calvin Phillips in particular, there's these senior players that as a young lad, you learn so much from them in and around training. It's good, but it's completely different how they apply themselves on a match day, and you have to say it's a huge credit to just everyone, all the coach staff up at Four Patch, because the players buy into it. Yesteryear, would I be happy too much playing a lot of the reserve games? I doubt it, but the players buy into it, and they have to, because when you get called upon by Marcelo Bielsa, you've got to be bang at it. You can't be a passenger in our team, and that's why the players' attitude is so good. It's so refreshing to see, actually, and like I say, you can learn so much from that.
Just a reminder of the lot of pictures which we are, of course, hoping to get back for you as quickly as possible. That's why I've been having a quick discussion here at as we wait for Leeds to hopefully open the scoring. You mentioned about earlier in the piece, game, Ben, in the first few minutes, about learning from players while you played for the reserves. Is there anyone in particular that you like to try and tap into?
In terms of the players, I don't know. It was always in more kind of training. To be honest, the big one for me was Gary Kelly. He was an idol for me growing up, and funny enough, always remember a time we played Manchester United away actually in the reserves, and made captain for the night, which was a great honour. But throughout the team, there was Lucas Radaby, Matt Kilgallen, quite a number of senior players, and actually it was one of the proudest moments, just leading the chief out. I'm not sure many people can actually say that, but no. Back then there was some more like old school kind of characters. I'd say older pros, older heads, but they certainly made you feel and made you know what to do at the right times, the right places, and they were just little habits. Remember a time did a pre-season tour in Norway and played a game, and I thought I actually did all right. Played centre half in this particular game. Very next training session, non-stop, I had Gary Kelly on my back all the time, and I felt so small coming off the training pitch. I thought, what have I done wrong here? But as soon as we were doing the cool down, the warm downs, he pulled me to one side, and Gary Kelly put his arm around me, and he was just explaining, he was just saying, he said, I don't think you were training bad. I said, I thought you were doing well. He said, I just want to, don't let your standards slip, and that's a key thing. So having these players around, it's so good, so invaluable as a young player.
Yeah, again, just a reminder about the loss of pitches, which we'll hope to bring you quickly as possible here on LUTV. Welcome back then. Hopefully no more loss of pitches for our viewers tonight. So Derby have taken the lead. A penalty. They've got a free kick here as well. Leeds are trying to block that ball, and Leeds do get to it on the edge of the box. Bobby Camwell now rushing out. Elias Caprila comes out. Good hands from the young man in goal. So a penalty. Calvin Phillips flags a strong tackle near the touchline. Very strong indeed. Let's hope Liam McCarron's okay. It's only a yellow card. Augustine's asking for a little more than that. The ferociousness of the tackle, you can understand why. So again, we hope that Liam McCarron is okay. He looks to be talking to his teammates on his knees, which is a good sign as Calvin Phillips just makes sure he is okay. So after a good start, Ben, not ideal to have conceded the penalty, but of course the players out there, of course we've got off the bench as well. Still not a foregone conclusion, but it hopefully doesn't affect the players' mindset too much and can just restart from here.
Hopefully not, and you know, unfortunately, we can't tell you about how the penalty came about, but from our point of view, like you said there, don't let your head drop, keep going, because we start the game well, and that challenge, it was an annoying one, that, you know, it was quite late. McCarron's always going to skip around his marker, and to be fair, it was a yellow card at the very best, to be honest.
Yes, Hazana gets caught in possession. Kamwa comes back. That's an awkward back pass for the keeper to deal with, and he has to just clear his lines. I'd much rather see him do that than try and bring it under control. So it's just a case of, if in doubt, get it out, as they always used to say. So Leeds 0, Derby County 1. Might need a new ball though. That could be an issue.
Yeah, it's definitely cleared the stand.
Yeah, if you've ever been to Bootham Crescent, that's not coming back for a while. As now the left back, Archie Brown, is going to take it. Zebaselli, by the way, that put the tackle in on McCarron. So the number 2 for Derby does have a yellow card. Out comes the keeper once again. Really safe in the air as he pings the ball out to the left-hand side. He's trying to release McCarron. Douglas gets across as well, and Douglas looking fired up for it, as he perhaps is a bit annoyed at the tackle he's just seen in his team early. Augustin jumps up, tries to chest the ball down. Douglas gets it down this left-hand side. So getting a bit spicy down that touchline, Ben.
Yeah, always these type of games. We've seen a few of them last season, especially at Tadcaster's ground and at Guiseley as well. Anytime you get a good crowd in, some of the fans that filter down, which we're always going to have a big following no matter where we play. It always adds to that extra spice. Feels like we mentioned, a proper game, and it's certainly getting that at the moment with the challengers flying in.
Ibaselli with this throw-in halfway through the first half here on LUTV. Derby manager asking for a bit more movement. It's a very long throw-in. Zana gets down this left-hand side. Phillips looking for Kamwa. He's found him. Now can Bobby Kamwa turn his man? He's normally very effective. He gets towards the bar line. Defender keeps at him. It will only be a throw-in. That's where Bobby Campbell just comes into his own. He's a bit of a loose cannon, isn't he? Because I don't think he knows what he's going to do sometimes, and that's what makes the player so effective.
That's what we like to see though from Bobby Campbell. Nice and positive, direct. Use like his strengths, which is actually his upper body and his speed.
Yeah, ball flicked away. Phillips trying to get back here. He does get a touch to it. Alex Babos in no rush to take this throw-in. As Kamwa gets back. Augustin just looking over his shoulder just in case the keeper is a target as well. Zana clears that ball. Good leap from Augustin. Derby recover there when they go back to Yates in goal. Douglas flies in. McCarron. McCarron's now going to get to the ball. He plays it towards this left-hand side. Here is Douglas. Douglas to McCarron. McCarron goes down. Free kick given just on the edge of the box. Awkward position though for a free kick, Ben, but again, good to see the pace of the attack, the players driving forward. Certainly hasn't changed the tempo of Leeds in possession. That's a penalty setback.
No, it hasn't, but linked up well yet again. Douglas, McCarron down that left-hand side. Both interchanging, both kind of overlapping each other at times, but now this occasion here from the set piece, it's one of those. You can see Calvin just getting bodies further in towards the goal. That's where we're just trying to look to whip it in towards.
Yeah, Phillips towards the near post, just about flicked away by Derby. Here is Struick. Huggins comes across to help out. Struick towards the far post. It's almost going to reach Hazana. Now Struick has to get back as Leeds under pressure. Ball over the top. Stanley watching the attacker all the time. And here's Gabriel. Flicks it away down this right touchline, away from danger once again. And while Derby have, I wouldn't say vulnerable, they've looked under pressure in defence. you can certainly see they've got plenty of pace on the counter. So Leeds will have to stay switched on for the full 90 tonight. Lozano wins the header. Pablos gets to the ball first. Derby keeping possession near the corner flag. Ball in towards the far post. Hepburn Murphy. Neat turn on the edge of the area. Leeds scrambling across. Caprile looked to have that covered, but it was the shot of Cameron Cresswell that's just about fired wide. And again, Leeds under pressure. Got to praise the turn, I thought, from Cresswell. It bamboozled a couple of players, and I think it would at most levels. I certainly thought it hit it first time. You see his neat footwork there as well. It's a good battle, this. Plenty of competitive duels between each team as McCarran comes across, tries to dispossess Derby but can't for the time being. Campbell working overtime to try and get the ball back. Phillips nips in. That's a good challenge from Calvin Phillips. Sends Cresswell to the deck as Thompson picks it up for Derby. Theo Hudson tracking him at all times. Barry Douglas has now come across. Douglas with the Derby player wrestling with him. There's a free kick going to be given. But a real competitive feel to this game. I think we've seen different types of 23's games where it goes down to the wire. We've had penalty shootout wins. We've had games that have been won at a counter. But I wouldn't say it's as far as needle, but there's certainly a lot of determination for both sides to put a number on each other. There
is. And that's what you want as a player. You want to be tested not only with the ball at your feet technically, but also physically as well. All aspects of the game.
Yeah, Stanley to Huggins, he might have just overrun this. He has had plenty of options and just maybe one touch too many. Or the bobble on the pitch as they go forward, Derby. It is into Shawnee Baird. It's into the middle of the park. Here is Hepburn Murphy trying to take them on. He's going to pick his shot, hits his teammate. Struick reacts quickly to head it to Hudson. Hudson can't get his feet right, but he tries to come in with a tackle. Free kick is going to be given, much to the disgust of some Leeds fans in the main stand at Bootham Crescent. And it's in a dangerous position, this, for Leeds to defend. That's the issue with the centre midfielders tonight. No one can really afford a bad touch, well, by the way the game's going at the minute, such is the pace of the game. And coming across to take it is Alex Babos. Number 5 coming up is Ethan Warsall for Derby. Cresswell's on the edge of the box as well for the Rams. Douglas might let this one go. And a little shoulder barge does the trick as Leeds can reset with the goal kick. So 15 to go. Augustin, enough of a touch to try and put the defender off. He looked threatening in the air so far. Now a good bit of chest control, a neat turn as well, and had to try and claw the ball back between his legs. Touch out of play for a throw-in, but yeah, I think Derby's team have done quite well to try and neutralise the threat through the middle to Augustin, but in terms of in the air, he's looked pretty effective. Some good touches, dropping short to help out. Ball to the far post and it's in. And Derby have managed to punish Leeds again with a whipped cross to the far post. I think it's Hepburn Murphy that's headed into the back of the net. He has. I think it's Douglas who's beaten at the far post. Get a replay of it. But Leeds caught there. Too much time, perhaps, as a defender yourself, Ben. Would you be happy if he had that much space to cross?
I think it's obviously come from a throw, and this is the most disappointing thing from the setup. I think it's just too easy to get a throw into the striker, build it back out to he set it back. He just crossed it in first time, and like I say, it's always difficult when there's an early cross, bit of pace on, and sometimes you can't do too much about it. But from all the promising kind of play we have had so far in this first 32 minutes, to find ourselves 2-0 down, that's hugely disappointing.
Yeah, Phillips back to Bryce Hazana, who will now go back to Elias Capriel. To Pascal Struijk. Who has Huggins in the middle of the park. He's out to the left, scooped up by Hudson. It's a really effective pass to McCarran. Leeds on the attack. Huggins is asking for it in the middle. McCarran's got 2 for company. Getting back with blistering pace there, Derby. McCarran to Hudson. Back to the Leeds number 11. He wants the return pass, and Leeds have managed to work it here towards the far post. Nobody there. Stanley trying to jump up for it, but Cameron had cut in. Augustin was on the edge of the 6-yard box as well. But a promising attack for Leeds, just maybe a bit more positioning adjustment at the far post to make it a bit more effective. The Derby player goes down, nothing in it. And again, Leeds straight away back on the attack. Phillips looks over both shoulders before having to try and play that ball out to Douglas. Douglas over the top to Hudson. It's a good touch, is it? Oh, just too much too much power on that. Derby nipping in. Effective though down the left again. Yeah. That little touch from Hudson carved open the midfield.
Yeah, it did do. But you just have to say so far it's just the clinicalness of Derby, because we haven't played bad by any stretch of the imagination. There's a strong challenge gone in there with Calvin.
Guess who?
He loves those challenges.
Calvin Phillips again with a really strong challenge. Augustin's in the middle. I think Canberra realised that at the last second it was too late. That ball had to be played quicker. Douglas comes across. That's a clear foul. Apologises to Hepburn Murphy. Derby in no rush with this set piece as we approach the final 10 minutes of this first half. Derby opening the scoring with a penalty. Hepburn Murphy's got a second a few moments ago with a header. Leeds, of course, need to win this tie to keep their Premier League Cup hopes alive. In the league, it's much different. Got games in hand to try and get that title back-to-back and then go on for the national one. Augustin brings it under control. He's going to go for an ambitious shot towards goal. Doesn't get all of it, but shows maybe a little bit of frustration. I mean, he saw the keeper off his line. He's barely had a chance tonight. Crosses haven't found him, or the ball has deflected away. I don't really mind that, to be honest.
It might be a bit of frustration, but what it does show is confident. Not afraid to try little things like that.
Yeah, Huggins in possession. It's through to Hudson. Hudson's got to adjust his feet again. He hurts his foot when he keeps to be struggling on the pitch tonight as Douglas gets it. It's back to Hudson. Hudson to Douglas. Douglas gets caught in possession across to Cresswell. He slips. A couple of players maybe adjusting the studs at half-time. Phillips into Huggins. Huggins is going to try and take it all through the middle, take 2 or 3 on. Dives in with a challenge. Augustin and Canberra coming across to help him. Ball out towards Brighton Zanet at right centre half to Joe Stanley. Could well be a Derby throw-in, and is. Strick comes across to help out Hazana. He's going to watch that one go, is he? Has to take a touch, does about enough to keep it in play. Free kick's going to be given, I think. Strong boy, Pascal Struijk. Phillips to Douglas. Back to Struijk under no real pressure. McCarran's nipped inside and turned. It's a good turn from Liam McCarran. Now can he shoot? He can. But it's going to be skied over the crossbar. Did all the hard bit quite well in terms of turning on a sixpence. Really good close control. I don't think you'll want to see a replay of the shot, though, unfortunately for him, the young man.
We all saw the bit of fun Mateus Click had with his shot against Millwall, and they found the ball back up at Four Patch, as everyone saw the video on social media. That won't be too far off as well, so watch out if you're driving about. There might be a stray football coming your way. But what I've liked about McCarron so far this first half is mixed his game up really well. He's not stayed out hugging the touchline, he's drifted in. That's why we've seen the likes of Barry Douglas overlapping him, and he's been picking up those pocket of spaces, getting on the half turn. But that's when you've got to have that bit of composure and quality then, just to not give it away cheaply.
Yeah, straight to Douglas. A couple of touches from the Leeds number 3 to McCarron. McCarron drops the shoulder, tries to return the pass down the line, needs to get a touch to this because Derby will be away. Takes the man out to slip. Phillips slips again in midfield. And now Derby coming forward. Struick tries to push the man off the ball. I told you he was strong. Just effortlessly gets the ball off him as Canwa gets possession now. Now can Leeds release Augustin. He sets off early. Too early perhaps. Or was the pass too late? I'm sure the two will talk about that at the interval, which we're nearly approaching with 6 minutes to go thereabouts. I was just looking at Hudson for some of the slips, but it's these players on both sides that are perhaps struggling with either the surface or the studs, Ben. Yeah,
it looks quite bobbly, does the pitch. By no means it's in terrible nick at all, but you kind of get this time of evening as well. The kind of cold night just gets a little bit greasy on top as well, does the pitch.
Hazana to Struick. Still 2-0 to Derby as Bryce Hazana is going to try and come forward, tries to squeeze the ball through. Nobody there for Leeds. Has to get back up to his feet as Derby push forward. Offside flag, I think, has come up against Derby, or potential handball as well. Leeds get a bit of respite. Keeper Elias Capriel offering a helping hand as an option back towards goal. And Bryce Hazana does turn to the Leeds number 1. You can see the bobbling pitch as Struick plays it across. Stanley. Huggins. Stanley's gone for the return pass. Augustin's at the near post. Can't get there. Now they can at the far post, and it's fired in. And Leeds do get a goal back, and that's Theo Hudson that's tapped in at the back post. And Augustin an inch away from it. And Leeds finally getting a reward for a ball into the box. This time bodies at the far post. And we have a goal back, Ben.
Excellent goal. Excellent Hudson. He's got number 8 on his back, playing probably in an unfamiliar role for him. He's predominantly either a left winger or a left back. But the way we just pass this ball around, and this is kind of how it starts here, into Calvin's feet, and then Joe Stanley's off. Great little movement for him. Give and go down the right-hand side with Huggins. He's put a great ball in with his weaker foot. Augustin so close to getting a touch on it himself, but Theo Hudson, like you've got to do from those midfield areas, you've got to get yourself into the box. Taps it into at the back post, and like I say, Tom, it's game on, 2-1.
Yeah, I'll give the players a lift before the break, and hopefully the scoreline stays the same, or of course can get a bit better as Phillips comes across. Calming head to Stanley. Stanley going down the line. Some of Leeds' passes from the wide back positions just been a bit rushed as Elias Capriel again having to pluck it out of the night sky. Hazana in possession. Across to Pascal Struick. There's still time for Leeds to get a chance or two registered before the break, especially the way McCarron's playing, if they can try and bring him into the game. Derby breaking down the right. Feels like a symmetrical slip. It's a new sport, perhaps, Ben, as Phillips nearly gets to the ball. That's a rushed pass. And Calvin Phillips' pressure tells as they cleared the ball straight out of play, and Leeds will have a throw-in. Douglas gives McCarron a shout, and they're going to take it quickly. Zana towards Augustana, who's just strayed offside. Derby are going to take the chance to take the free kick and let the keeper take it by the looks of things. Leeds perhaps guilty there of trying to find Augustana a bit quickly because there was a shorter pass involved first, maybe?
I think on that occasion, get your head up just a split second earlier, look for the run, and then if it's not on, don't have to give it because he's making the run, because the space isn't there. He might have gone a little bit earlier as well, making his movement. So it's just one of those, look for it a little split second earlier, then it might be on the pass.
Yeah, Phillips brings it under control and finds Stanley towards Struick. And it's Gabriel in possession again, looking very comfortable on the ball. Both left-footed and right-footed passes so far tonight, and effective coming out of his 6-yard box. Leeds have given the ball away on the right. Zana now has work to do. Keeper's got work to do. He can't bring him down. Shot comes in. Struick off the line. Sticks out the right leg at the nick of time to make sure Leeds have got a real fighting chance in this game. As now Huggins breaks free. That was a heavy touch. Perhaps he's claiming he was clipped. I think he's managed to get that. Might have overstretched and hurt the hamstring. It looks like he's okay. But the Derby player knocking Huggins off balance. And if he hadn't, then Leeds had a number of white shirts in good positions, Ben.
Yeah, but going back to Struick's clearance off the line, so vital was that. Done so well to get the scoreline back to 2-1, playing well.
Break off because Kamwa comes in. Chest down was an option. Went with the thigh. Couldn't bring it under control for a shot, and Derby clear straight away. And it's been very apparent what Derby have tried to do all night. Quick counters, try and stretch Leeds, don't let them get settled. Cause potential changes at the break. Like we often see, nearly every 23's game really changes at the interval. Derby may do the same as it's out to Douglas. Two minutes added on at Bootham Crescent. Ball out to the right. Huggins coming into the game quite nicely the last few minutes, looking for McCarron. It's not going to find him. Stanley trying to get to the ball. And there's Gabriel. Now has a job just to keep it in play and keep the move ticking over. Phillips. Struick. Carlos Corberan out there again, barking out the instructions as Phillips goes looking for Douglas. He slips once more. Douglas tries to wrestle and get the ball back. A referee says free kick. Into the final minute. We've seen some of the half-time team talks work wonders this season and last, Ben, so perhaps some changes ready to be made. Leeds certainly got enough in the attack to try and go win this game.
Yeah, they certainly have. And from Carlos Corberan's point of view, it'd be very difficult to criticise the performance in general, because I thought we've played some good stuff a lot of the time so far in this half. It's just those kind of key areas when we do turn the ball over, don't be sloppy with it, don't do it in the wrong areas. And Derby have punished us, and they've been clinical.
The ball forward. Douglas brings it under control. Looks for the long pass. Hits to Huggins. It was inch perfect, but the referee decided that that's the end of the first half. So Derby opened the scoring with a penalty. Hepburn Murphy then headed home. Theo Hudson's got a goal back 4 minutes from the half-time interval to give Leeds a fighting chance in this Premier League Cup clash. Myself, Tom Hill and Ben Parker back for second half commentary shortly. Welcome back to LUTV's coverage then of tonight's Premier League Cup clash at Bootham Crescent. The game is, of course, Leeds United versus Derby County. Leeds trailing 2-1 as we get ready to start this second half. A couple of changes for you. Jordan Stevens has come on wearing the number 16 shirt. That is for Jean-Kevin Augustin. And Barry Douglas has been replaced by Ollie Casey, who will wear number 14. So, could well be that Bobby Camworth or Jordan Stevens play through the middle. The duo might even change round, but as it stands, Stevens has gone right, Camworth's gone through the middle of the team, and the rest are as we were. So Leeds go with Capriel, Casey, Struick, Hosanna, Stanley, Phillips, McCarran, Hudson, Stevens, Huggins and Camworth. Into Bobby Camworth, sticks to his feet there as he tries to play in Stevens. Hosanna out towards the right-hand side, and Hosanna wrestling. No free kick given is what he wanted. The opposite decision is given the other way. So Casey's gone to centre-half. Hosanna will go back to his traditional right-back spot. And it looks like Stanley will go to left-back. He is predominantly left-footed anyway. Myself, Tom Hill and Ben Parker bringing you the action tonight. Decent first half display in terms of some of the attacking play. Ben, of course, Derby very clinical on the counter, punishing Leeds. But still, from what we saw in the first half, a chance for Leeds to get something from this game. But of course, Derby well organised, and it won't be easy.
No, it won't be easy, but like I said, we showed plenty of promise in that first half. Did really well. Ollie Casey just coming on there, winning his first header, and that's where he'll bring extra height, his aerial duels. But he'll know how to be bang at it in this second half, because, as you mentioned, Derby were clinical. They didn't really have too much in terms of possession, but any time they got into our final third, they had a bit of time, a bit of freedom. They nearly opened us up quite a number of times. So that's the warning sign. As much good football we can play, we've got to keep the back door shut, and that's just not the back four. It's the collective unit. Is that?
Struick comes across, gets a touch to it. It will be a Derby County throw-in. Kevin Phillips still out there for the time being. Remaining subs for the Whites: Harrison Mail, Stuart McKinstry and Ian Pervader. So see who will come on later in the piece. That long throw in flicked on, free man at the back post, nobody tracking Hepburn Murphy's run. He's kept it in play. Struick gets across again. Great strength once more from Pascal Struick, the lead skipper, but you had your arms out alongside me. Can't really afford to leave anybody free in a penalty area.
No, it just looked too easy to that, especially again from a throw, and this time was a long one into the box. You've got to stay switched on, especially from this one now.
Ball fired up and away. And Elias Capriel will let that one go. Casey under pressure. Capriel will now go and put his foot through it. Karen got work to do to try and stop Baselli. Staying with his man, but Baselli's trying to twist away. Casey intercepts. Camworth can't get there. Huggins can though. He cushions it down the left. Tries to release Hudson. Hudson will spin away. Now try and bring the ball away from trouble. Ball down the left looking for Camworth. It's just behind him. It will be a throw-in. Showing what he can do, Theo Hudson is probably frustrated at his own play sometimes when he's struggled to get out of his feet or he slips on the slippy surface, but then he went and got a goal. You might not find a more confident young player as well. Loves having the ball at his feet, trying to attack, and you can see it there. He's very confident, twisting and turning, but just that final ball at times for Leeds to try to connect the midfield to the striker.
It can happen, that, but with Bobby Camworth down the middle, he's got an important role to play, just being that focal point in the second half.
Yeah, Stevens across to Stanley. Stanley's telling Huggins to go further wide. He picks up possession now, Huggins. It's back to Stanley, has to be quick. He's got Hepburn Murphy breathing down his neck. And Phillips tries to pick out Hosanna. And he does so in fine style. Bryce towards the byline, tries to cut the ball back. He's crunched in the tackle. It should be a corner, and is. And let's hope Bryce is okay, because he's felt the full effects of that one. So real bun cruncher on Liam McCarron earlier. And let's hope it's just nothing but an impact knock and he can shake this one off.
Well, fingers crossed. Just going across his screen there, just saw McCarron holding back of his hamstring. Hopefully that's nothing as well, because as you mentioned, 2 subs at half time as well. Just hope it's more of a contact kind of, just a kick on Bryce Susanna more than a twist, turn ankle kind of knee part.
Yeah, Calvin Phillips just making sure with his teammates that they want him to take the set piece, whether they had to mix things up or a bit of tactics being discussed as the physio team have a look at Bryce Susanna. He's a player that's been in and out of the team this season due to a couple of injuries, so he deserves a little more luck. Calvin Phillips and the linesman making friends.
What do you reckon they're on about there, Tom? What are they doing tonight?
Looks like the linesman's doing some sort of dance move, like a shoulder pop.
A shoulder pop, nice.
They've become best of friends while Bryce has been getting some treatment, so he limps away again. Everything crossed for the young man that he's going to be ready to continue, but if he isn't, Leeds won't take any chances with him. He's walking off pretty gingerly, and of course with it being a defender, it might have to change Carlos Colbrand's plans, because attacking players on the bench. Phillips has now put the ball down for the corner. And B. Stevens just hanging around on the edge of the box. Referee now tells Calvin Phillips to go back and get ready. Off to go see his linesman friend again. Struick's the man to watch for this. Got a number of headed goals from set pieces this season. And here comes the set piece finally towards Casey. Just heads it back away from goal, and now Leeds have got a foot race. Casey leading the defensive charge. Great pace from Ollie Casey. Trying to put the defender off. Ball goes towards the right hand side. And Derby just a bit of foul. Good work from Stanley. And to put his body on the line at a crucial moment, because again the game's nicely poised at 2-1. But that change is now going to be made, and it is the number 6 of Bryce Susanna, and on in his place is Ian Poveda. So a total change in tactics.
Well, that's been forced due to Bryce Susanna's injury. Unfortunately, couldn't really shake that knock off. But now it's a great opportunity for Ian Poveda, and another great opportunity for the Leeds fans to have another look at him. We saw him have some minutes on Monday, a bit like Augustin as well. But I'm not sure the plan was for him to come on at this stage. Maybe the plan might have been to give him the last half an hour, but there's no harm getting extra minutes under his belt. So just keep that sharpness high.
Hepburn Murphy down the right. Struick deals with it really well. McCarron. Huggins trying to nip in. It's a great tackle from Niall Huggins. McCarron tries to get it back, but Cresswell off the deck. Here comes Hudson. Thompson towards the corner flag. Hudson trying to stop him. Ball in. Stevens gets a touch. Phillips does as well. That was an early pass looking to try and release Poveda, who's got to try and get back towards the near post. Hepburn Murphy, good save from the keeper by Capriel. Gets the ball out. Very quick on the counter again, but just adjusting his feet to make sure he can make the save. All very disjointed at the minute. Players, of course, been brought off as planned at half-time. Injuries. But I haven't really seen Bobby Campbell play through the middle. That's something new. It's a time where Derby will look to punish Leeds, so it's a big 10 minutes this, Ben.
Yeah, it just looks like we're just trying to organise each other, getting bodies into kind of positions. At the moment, Jordan Stevens is filling that right back kind of spot. Again, a position that's not kind of familiar for him. We all know him going forward, very forward-thinking player. But it might just be a night where he has to just do that job defensively.
Ball out comes Capriel again. He's been very, very effective under the high ball. Here's Capriel, now tries to release Camworth on the counter-attack straight away. Derby will cover. But he's been not shy to come off his line and collect early doors and try and release the play. Archie Brown at left back for the Rams with this throw-in. Casey to Phillips, who's got one Derby player all over his back, still got too much strength to keep it. Poveda, good vision to find Struick, and Leeds will try and stretch them a little bit more now. Stanley across. Thompson intercepts. McCarran tries to get there as well. Great interception from Calvin Phillips, and now on the attack himself. Wins a throw-in, which Stanley will take. Cameron gets a touch. The defender got one as well. And the defender, Festia Baselli, tried to con the referee, not to be. And a corner now which would suit Phillips a bit more with the right foot. Phillips towards the far post. Stevens back in towards Struick, header towards goal, just over. Nice idea that from Leeds, bit different from a corner. Tried to float it to the back post, and Struick, as we keep saying, such a danger man in the air. He just couldn't get over it, Ben, to steer it under the crossbar.
Well worked corner kick, like you said, Tom. A long deep one towards Stevens, put it back into the danger kind of zone. And there's Struick. It's always difficult trying to create your own power on the ball when there's not much coming back on it. Unfortunately, just dips to the other side of the crossbar.
Phillips in possession. Went long looking for Poveda. Stevens picked it up now. I think Stevens has gone to right back. Poveda floats it to the far post, looking for McCarran. It's just too hot over his head and will bounce out. But a bit more direct this now, Ben, though, from Leeds.
Yeah, it seems any opportunity we're getting at the moment, we're putting the ball into the box. We saw Derby get their second goal exactly like that. Great delivering, headed at the far post. And with Poveda coming on onto that right-hand side, he'll look to cut back onto his favoured left like he did there. Unfortunately, just got too much on the cross, but if we're going to do that, it's important we get bodies into the box. Either it's people from midfield, like Theo Hudson did for his goal, or the fellow wide man as well, Liam McCarran, trying to get into the back stick.
Casey jumping up. He's added a bit of spine to that defence, a bit more height. Struick goes to retrieve possession. Capriel shouts him and tells him to move out of the way, and Leeds under pressure. Again, that's what Ben mentioned first few minutes, that Derby will press high as Poveda nips in. Another player to slip, but terrific footwork from the new Leeds man as he gets another touch to the ball. Across comes Huggins, and a player that Ben really likes in that number 10 role. Discussed that a few times this season. He scraps away. Leeds having to roll their sleeves up now and try and dig in. It's going to be a bit unique to play, a bit more of a false nine with Bobby Camworth. They've got the players out wide though to create. There's still plenty of time left, 31 minutes. Struick out to the left. For Stanley, who no real rush that time. Camworth's chest was wayward, and that's allowed Thompson to nip in. Jordan Brown back to Matt Yates. McCarron, the first player on the attack, trying to put pressure on for Leeds. Good work from Stevens. Another position he can play for the 23s. Played left mid, centre forward, right mid.
Another one ticked off for him.
Down the line to Stanley, who's got in behind. Now a chance to cut the ball back towards the near post. Camworth tries to steer it in off the post and in. Just couldn't open up his body enough to put it in the corner bin. But great run from Stanley. Good run from Camworth. Leeds knocking on the door.
I have to say, I think Stanley's been excellent this first hour. Playing out of position at right back. Obviously his cross led to the goal, but defensively has been sound. And then start of this second half, playing a lot more familiar on the left hand side of the defence. He's joining in, full of energy. Great delivery there. Unfortunately for Camworth, it's always a difficult finish for him.
Yeah, Hudson's run into trouble and been dispossessed. Casey to Phillips. Got to Pascal Struick. He's got Stanley hugging the touchline on the left. Phillips across to Casey, and Leeds toying with Diver there for a second. The pressure not as intense though. Casey again to Phillips. Looking over the top. Hudson's peeled away and brings it under control. Oh, dances past his man. Now a chance to cross. He's got the defender coming back at him. A bit like a brick wall is Eberselli, the Derby right back. So Hudson's done well at first, but just out-muscled for the second time. Stanley gets it down the line. Can't find McCarron. But yeah, when you look at the Derby right back, no wonder Liam McCarron was hurt earlier when he got smashed into by him.
Yeah, I'm going to say, it looks like the right back for Derby there. Maybe he's picked a knock up himself, down on his haunches.
Just taking his time, bit of time wasted. Throw into Leeds. Casey has Stevens. Stevens rides the challenge, gets a little lucky with a ricochet. Tries to go beat his man a second time. Didn't need to do that. The referee's given the free kick. Did look though for a second that a lot of Leeds' players had pushed up there then. Hudson and Huggins very attack-minded. Perhaps thought that he couldn't make the pass, so that was the better option. But as we've said, it is players playing in new positions tonight. We've not often seen Hudson in the middle. Huggins has played more box-to-box than we've ever seen him as well.
You have to say, like you mentioned, players playing out of position. They've done it relatively well against, let's remember, it's a good Derby outfit, this.
To say the least, the second in this Group H PL Cup table. Casey with the no-nonsense approach this time. Camworth trying to put pressure on the defence. Huggins has really caught the eye tonight at times as he tries to ride the challenge. Here he comes now, Huggins, potential to shoot. He's going to try and play it left to McCarron. Number 11 going to go back, and the move sort of dies off for a second, but Huggins kick-starts it again across the face, takes a deflection up and away from the Derby defence. Looked like it was Jordan Brown hooking it clear. Need a new ball, but now Huggins there. 2 runs in quick succession, causing carnage, Ben.
He's been so bright tonight, and the good thing about Niall Huggins, what we've always liked from what we've seen this season, is so attack-minded. He's so positive when he gets the ball, and he's a nightmare for defenders. He can go left, he can go right. It's very difficult to show in one way.
Ball inside. Hudson turns away. To Stanley. Stanley. Another ricochet. Keeps that ball in play. Deflection Derby's way though. Hepburn Murphy. He slips. Nothing in that. Stanley gets him with the next tackle. Here comes Calvin Phillips. Runs into the brick wall that is the Derby defender. Phillips in no mood to go too high up over the ball. Keeps it nice and calm. Casey and Phillips combined. Struick is going to go back to Capriel in goal. Picks out Stevens, who will try and find Hudson, who's gone from left to right all night in midfield, trying to zip his way across the park. It's Camwa. Bobby Camwa out to Stanley, who's got time and space. Now needs to try and quicken the play up. The defender's coming in. Hepburn Murphy. Stanley to the far post. Cleared away. Struick has it. Phillips over the top to McCarran. Now he needs to try and just get his foot around the ball. He does. Bobby Camwa unable to get there in time. And fair play there, Ben, to Liam McCarran to actually keep that ball in play and get it back into the danger zone.
Yeah, we're seeing numerous times throughout the 23s this season where players haven't given anything up, and out of sheer determination we've created and scored goals off back of that. And nearly the same thing. I think just Bobby Campbell just on his heels a little bit, thinking he wasn't going to keep it in.
Struick just slices the clearance. No messing with the second attempt though. As Campbell just can't stretch his leg long enough to bring it under control. It has got a little bit scrappy now. Bit of head tennis, end to end. No one in the middle of the park trying to put their foot on the ball. That was the last couple of minutes. McCarran into Huggins. Huggins back to McCarran. Perhaps the shot was on, and do wish now Huggins sometimes would try and let fly from a bit further out. He's got all the makings of a player that gets into those areas. Phillips, just for a second, I thought would do that. Here's Stevens. He leaves it for Poveda. Will Poveda try and have a rare run so far? Poveda now tries to get it towards the 6-yard box. Wrestling away, puts the shoulder in. Too many Derby players get back to push him off the ball. Leeds back in numbers. That could be a Leeds throw-in. Carlos Colbrand certainly thinks so, as well as the other coaches. Referee and linesman disagree. Derby to take their time. One thing you've got to say about the second half is that Derby haven't offered much on the attack. I don't want to, that's now a commentator's curse and I'm going to get ruined for that, but just a reminder, tonight's coverage brought to you by Deliveroo Food Freedom. Going back to that point though, is that we saw Capriel a lot busier, the defence a lot busier in the first half than we've seen it in the second.
Yeah, we have. Has he lost his shin pad?
See, I thought he lost it earlier. When he first did a turn in the first couple of minutes he came on, something white flew off the side of the boot, and obviously he's wearing pink boots tonight, so I think he's just put it on the sideline. The linesman's, or the fourth official, spotted it and said he's got to put it back. Old school, bit of tape. Here comes Capriel, rolling it out and taking his time before assessing those options. Poveda will be allowed back on now. McCarran again, always exciting to watch, and he keeps the ball, makes the defender miss, as tries to swing it in and doesn't get any contact on the ball that he wanted. Slices it away. You can see the big divot he took out of the floor as he's done it. So from the brilliance of Liam McCarran to a little bit unlucky with the cross. Been very effective though, hasn't he, so far? Yeah,
another one who's impressed, utilising his pace. Again, been direct when he's had the ball. Used to have to say in the second half, again we've played well. Just want to test the goalkeeper out a little bit more.
Poor clearance will be Leeds ball. Somehow that ball stayed in as Huggins tries to dispossess Baselli. Hepburn Murphy, tackled by Phillips. Phillips nips in again. And once more, little turn to get away as he's having his shirt pulled off his back. Stanley down the line, McCarron looks to have stayed onside. Now, can he find a white shirt? Cuts it back to Camwer. Camwer takes a touch. Can he find shooting space? Left-footed, it's going to be deflected. And away for a throw-in. Well, I don't mind that from Bobby Camwer, Ben. Brought it under control. A little twist and a turn and nearly found shooting space. I mean, there was only one thing in his mind once he brought it under. Perhaps the teammates to his right will disagree, but I thought that was decent play.
He did everything right. Just tried to work half a yard. Eventually found it onto his left-hand side. Unfortunately, it just got blocked. But no, it was good positive play yet again. McCarron down the left-hand side.
Stanley with a throwing across the park to Casey. Stevens nips away. Going into this game, Jordan Stevens. Off he goes. As he tries to pick out Camwer, that's deflected. It's going to go straight into the hands of the keeper. Al Huggins with a thumbs up. He appreciated the idea. Still got a feeling there's a good chance in this for Leeds. I'd like to see them bring Poveda into the game a little bit more, Ben.
I think what Poveda kind of generally does as well, when we have a sustained bit of possession, he won't stay out wide. He'll come and look to like be busy, try and get involved, plenty of touches. But it's just not happening down his side at the moment. But sometimes that happens. We've got to stay patient.
Caprill kicks the ball out to the left, and I think he was looking for something a lot more cuter than that. He apologises to his teammates. It's flown out of play through a throw-in. In fairness, Derby haven't really offered much in this second half. Of course, they stayed in this game well and truly on the score sheet, but it's almost like they've let Leeds have the tempo a little bit. They try to see this one out. Derby get the throw in. Murphy in possession. McCarron and Stanley trying to take it off him. It's hit the legs of Stanley and behind for a corner, which again doesn't take anyone that's with any knowledge of this game to realise that Derby are not going to be any rush with this. They've taken their time with throwing so far, so don't be surprised if Alex Babos does wait his time, but in all fairness he looks to be actually getting on with things. Near post, flick on, Struick comes across and has to deal with it. The man peeling away was ready to pull the trigger there, Ben.
Did well, Struick. It's one of those difficult ones. If you're not alive, if your runner's just got that split second run on you, so hard to get back and defend that type of cross, but as I said, did well just to stay in front of his runner, and we've got to stay switched on from this corner yet again.
Phillips goes to retrieve the new ball as Babos gets set once again. Leeds tight marking in the area towards the near post. Good save. Gets down to his left hand side. Alea Capriel shows some really good reactions, good speed to get down. I think it was going to creep in, that, Ben.
Yeah, it looked like it was going to creep in as well.
Wait to see.
You mentioned good reactions.
Let's see what happens at this corner. Discuss that save more in detail. Towards the near post, flicked away by Leeds. Poveda puts his body in the way, dances past his man, and now tries to come down the right. It's good work from Poveda, and Hudson ends up on the deck, and Poveda was caught as he now gets to his feet. Not much sympathy shown there by the Derby player, but That's what the fans have come to see, Ben. The footwork from the new Leeds ace.
I'll say that's what he possesses.
Can you imagine playing left back against him? That can't be nice, can it?
That's where you don't do any running, you get your winger to do all the work for you.
McCarron down the left will break off as he swings the ball, and that could be potential goal kick. I thought it might have taken a double deflection. Good news is that it doesn't, and Phillips now gets ready to come across. McCarron going from strength to strength in this team for Leeds. Really has taken his game to new levels this last 12 months. As Phillips gets ready, swings the corner in, cleared away. And as far as that number 11 shirt off McCarron, back to Phillips, back into the mixer. Casey and Struick were waiting, but none of them could get a touch in the white shirt. As Hepburn Murphy with Stanley, good touch on Huggins, should I say, who might have over just stretched there. He's going to try and hobble and walk it off. Referee just waiting for something. I think someone stayed down. One of the Derby defenders is down. Don't know whether it's a head knock, so we are going to get a break-in play at Leeds 1, Derby 2. These two going all out at it at Bootham Crescent. If it is a head knock, referee can take no chances. Players getting a few drinks on board. It's a new challenge for this team as well, without Wright Edmondson, a couple of weeks with the knee injury. He's been the focal point of the attack now for quite some time, and players, this is football. Players get injuries. It's a chance for someone else to get an opportunity. It's also a chance for the players to link up with others in different roles. So this will be a huge lesson whatever happens tonight. Even if they go on and win, they'll learn stuff to go forward for the rest of the season, Ben.
Yeah, they will do. And a word on Ryan Edmondson, hugely disappointed hearing the news about him being out for 2 months with that operation he has had. But he'll come back better, stronger for it. And you're right, what it does offer is offers another opportunity for somebody else, and offers maybe a different type of way how to get back into games, how to win football matches. And it's up to the players on the pitch to grasp that opportunity.
He's still not ready to get this one back underway. Struick heads clear, flicks back on by Phillips. Hepburn Murphy gets away from Phillips. Leeds don't get the call. Phillips not happy with the referee as he gives the throw-in Derby's way. Another throw-in goes to the Rams. Again, in no real rush. Tactics in the second half have certainly been to chew up the clock as much as they can. Phillips gets to it. Struick, I think, had got it covered regardless, but McCarron's clearance is blocked. Baselli dispossessed by McCarron, who gets a touch to it, but it's cleared off his leg as he hits the floor. It's been a good battle that tonight, those two.
Yeah, it has. We'll mention McCarron. I thought he's looked really sharp tonight, trying to get in behind. Mentioned him not staying out, hugging the touchline, drifting into those little pockets of spaces. We found him really well.
Yeah, Camwa gets the ball for a split second. Dispossessed as Struick goes to retrieve it. Phillips' pass reaches Stevens. Nice ball from Stevens to give Phillips the chance to attack straight away. A nudge from behind from Hector Ingram, who's barely had a kick tonight. For some reason he looks annoyed that a shoulder barge into the back of a player is a free kick. Good to see Katie back out there. different centre-back pairings this year. Of course, he was in the first team. Been effective since he's come on. Just get a break in play as he gets the... I'll bring Ben in a second, should I say, as he looks for the run of Stanley. That's going to trickle out for a goal kick, but we've seen Charlie Cresswell, of course, shine for the 18s on Wednesday. He's played for the 23s and not looked out of place at all. And of course, it was Casey in there first, and they've played together. Pascal Struik's played there. Hazana's played there. You mentioned then about the goalkeeping department being well stocked. Centre back might have something to say about that as well.
I think it could go across all positions, all departments. You only have to watch the game back from Wednesday, the FA Youth Cup, how well the boys applied themselves, and you have to say the future is bright. Plenty of young talent coming through.
Yeah, ball with McCarron. Poveda wanted it in the middle. Huggins has got it instead. Now can he get onto his stronger right foot and pick a patch? Tries to float one out. He's looking for Poveda. Camera was in there as well. Hudson tries to run through three players, gets caught. Derby are just going to clear this ball out for a throw-in. Are you surprised with the lack of Derby attacking output in the second half, Ben?
I just think we've kind of neutralised that really well. In terms of first half, very similar how well we're playing, but they were just able to counter-attack a little bit easier on us. So obviously what Carlos Cobran and the coaching staff have done at half-time has worked well. The players have took it on board and kind of stopped that at source.
Poveda in possession. Picks out Huggins. Wants a return pass. Huggins is going to try and get it to him. He's wrestling. Scrappy bit of play. Stanley, the defender's out of position for Derby's right back, and McCarron, can he keep it in? He wrestles with it. Inches away, Liam McCarron. And he's been holding that right glute, right hamstring a couple of times.
I just don't know if it's cramped because he was stretching his calves off as well. He's definitely put a lot of yardage in tonight.
His kit's filthy. Just to prove that. Again, this Derby throwing. Casey comes across, takes a chunk of Hepburn Murphy as he goes in, gets it. Huggins, Canvas tries to come across. Into the final 10 minutes now, as Phillips now has it. Again, so calm and assured under pressure. He goes back to Struik, likewise with Capriel. Bit early that for Bobby Camwa, who I think he's feeling a little frustrated up top with the lack of service.
Yeah, as I was saying, only moments prior, we just haven't tested the keeper enough. We've got into some decent positions in the final third, but can't really remember the keeper making a decent save or a save at all in this second half. But still 7+ minutes to go.
Good touch from Camwa. Now he releases Huggins. Can he get a meaningful touch to it? Sorry, that was Hudson. Huggins was on the inside. Poveda as well. A real opportunity that for Leeds if they could have pulled it off. Phillips and Stevens try to combine to dispossess Derby. Stevens with a body check, according to the referee. Leeds' 23s in action on Monday as well. Very busy month for the 23s, in fact, is February. Good chunk of their season is played. Don't forget they've had a couple of games cancelled or rearranged, so they've had to move those. So a real chance to get some progress made in the league and put pressure on the top two. Unbeaten in the league since October. This, of course, a PL Cup clash in Group H as Derby flick the ball on. Phillips brings it into Hudson's path. Hudson down the line looking for Camwa. Huggins will pick up the ball. He's popped into so much free space tonight. Huggins, he might go on his own. Down towards the left-hand side. He's taken the shot. He's taken a deflection. It'll be a goal kick, in fact. I'm not sure it was a double flick. I thought he took a touch of the diving man. Or maybe he just sliced it, Ben. But again, I like that play. maybe too many times in the second half they've tried to go with a little side-footed pass before the shot comes in. He knew exactly what he wanted to do now, Huggins, and when he's got that ball at his feet and he's running with freedom, it's a real sight to watch. And again, another player that you would not like to play against.
He just glides over the pitch. I mentioned it can go left and right. This time was tried to go into the space down the side onto his left foot. Did everything right, just got a little bit underneath the finish. But no, good positive play, and it's always positive. That's what we talk about, don't we, Tom? About these young players with the under-23s in the forward positions. Can you be direct? Can you be positive? Especially in the final third. You have to say, Niall Huggins, every time he has the opportunity to receive on the half turn, is straight at the back four.
Yeah, the man that's down in question for Derby is Festi Eberseli. He got booked in the first half, and Huggins makes sure he's okay. Was in some serious pain when he went down and first put that challenge in. Will now be told to make way to the touchline with the final 5 or so minutes left, plus a bit of stoppage time. Leeds looking for that equaliser at Bootham Crescent in York. The ground they played a pre-season friendly on, of course, earlier this season. Phillips takes it away from the Derby number 9, Hector Ingram. It's back to Struick. Just a case, he leads maybe. He should try and up the tempo, go through the gears down, especially down the flanks, try and get Poveda more involved on the right. McCarron that's been targeted a little more in the second half. Of course, Leeds had to mix things up. They'd made planned changes at the break. They had to make an injury change to Hazala, which brought Poveda into the game. And since then, it's all been a little bit off the cuff for Leeds, trying to settle into a rhythm. McCarron goes back to Phillips. Phillips looking for Stevens. Stevens brings it under control at first, gives the ball away. That'll be a free kick to Derby. In fact, no, it won't. I thought the referee was ready to put whistle to mouth. Stevens accusing the Derby player of diving. The referee's given free kicks for less than that tonight, put it that way. Struick to the byline. We'll take it though for Leeds. Huggins again, terrific footwork. Now ball into McCarron. This is a chance for Leeds. Cuts the ball back, and it will be cleared behind for a corner. And now Huggins playing well into his way into the man of the match candidate at the minute.
Yeah, them two players again looking up really well, taking it short.
Yeah, Poveda tries to squeeze the ball back, looking for Struick. It'll fall to Stevens, left-footed, and it's cleared away. Something a bit different from a set piece again from Leeds. They had that chance with Struick earlier. Poveda going from right to left wing. Stoke Leeds for the kitchen sink now as Phillips tries to use the wind in York to his advantage. Hudson loses out in the air. Camwer with Eberseli. Camwer driving back to try and help out his team. The two holding hands as they try and wrestle each other off the ball. Stanley is beaten by Eberseli. He comes to the byline, stands them up, keeps possession, turns away again and wins a corner. And we're no strangers to the quality that Derby possess, and he's been their best player tonight for me.
Looks like you mentioned, the size of his upper body. Real powerful runner there. You see him go past 2-3 of our players. He had the composure to then win a corner, and they're just going to take the time. You can see here walking towards it, and to be fair, you don't begrudge them. We'd do the same thing if the tables were turned.
Near post, the target flicked away. Poveda challenges, Leeds have to try and push up here as Baselli goes back to Yates. 20 seconds of normal time to go. Straight pass. Camera frustrated. He's been visibly frustrated this second half as well. The 90 minutes though for him under his belt. A player that's been injury prone the last couple of years. It's all part and parcel of the game.
The fourth official has indicated there are 3 minutes additional time. 3 minutes.
Struik doing enough to help out, get the throw in, take it quickly. Leeds pushing on. 3 minutes of stoppage time at Bootham Crescent. As announced, Struik pings the ball to the right. Pervader, great first touch, looks down the line to find Hudson. Pervader's coming back on the inside if he can pick him out. Hudson tried to. Then the poor pass to Stevens. Derby have taken it out of play for a throw-in. A bit more movement needed from Leeds. Casey. Stevens has got a little bit of space. The Derby sub behind causing confusion for him at first there. It's towards Stevens. Pervader tries to cause nuisance. He's still going to scrap away. It's going to trickle out of play, and Derby just playing for time. They're launching it long. A minute and a half to go. Leeds need more runners. Phillips asking search. He tries to pin the ball out towards Stephen. It's not a bad attempt at all, and it's going to force a throw in deep in Derby's half. So this will be last chance saloon, you think. They've taken it into that corner. Pervader's touch is heavy, and that's not what Leeds needed. I mean, I thought they were going to pin Leeds back for taking it too far in the corner. I didn't think the ball had gone out there, but they got away with it. Pervader brings that under control. Benny's got one, a shooting opportunity or a simple pass, and perhaps just sums up the second half. Neither team's got going. Been a bit of a stalemate.
Yeah, a lot of players in between the both boxes. And that's the most disappointing thing from our part. Just not that creative edge and the cutting edge in the final third that we needed. As Derby made a substitution just to try and kill a bit more time.
Yeah, ball headed away. Stanley's trying to watch the runner. McCarron comes back. Great energy again from him as the long ball goes across. Camworth. It's not going to fall to Leeds up front there, and now they're under pressure as Capil tries to organise his defence. Phillips taking it away from him was Cameron Cresswell. Stevens nips in. Pervader's touch is heavy, and now Derby can break. Stevens, the needless tackle, and that should be that. Free kick in the corner. Bit more time wasting from Derby's players. And they've knocked that ball out straight away for a goal kick, but that was the end of the match regardless. It is going to finish Leeds United 1, Derby County 2 in the PL Cup. And Leeds denied at Bootham Crescent. They fell behind for a penalty in the first half. Then a Hepburn Murphy header put them 2 in front. Theo Hudson got a goal back in the first half, which looked to have given Leeds a bit of a boost. But in the second 45, it was too much of a stalemate. So Leeds defeated on the night. Of course, it's first team action tomorrow. And the 23 is back on Monday. Once again, thanks for tuning in.